I am incredibly excited for Universal's third theme park, Epic Universe. This is one of the only major theme parks to open within my lifetime, and seeing it slowly come to life within the past few months has made the wait even more unbearable. With more and more rumors coming out about the park, my anticipation for what it may offer is high. And as a roller coaster enthusiast, nothing excites me more than knowing that this park may be getting 4 of them. In this video, I want to talk about those 4 rides, and see if any of them could possibly reach the heights of the newly opened Jurassic World Velocicoaster. For many enthusiasts, including myself, this ride easily breaks into their top 5 roller coasters. So, with 4 more coming to Epic Universe, let's see if Universal can make yet another elite coaster. Before we get into that though, 2 things. First off, thanks so much to Orlando Park Stop, who does a ton of reporting on Epic Universe rumors. They are where I'm getting a lot of this information, so be sure to check them out. Secondly, if you enjoy this video and want to see more theme park content, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton. Now let's talk about the first rumored coaster. The Universal monsters are rumored to be getting their own land within this new park, and one of the rides rumored for that land is a Mock Rides family spinning coaster. Let's get it out of the way now. No, this ride is not going to be elite. However, I think it could actually be pretty great, depending on a few things. Universal is known for going all out on their theming, and with this ride rumored to take place indoors, I think it could be a very cool attraction. I'm not really sure which Universal monster this could be themed to, but the idea of a castle setting moving into a haunted forest like for Bolton sounds pretty cool. What could also help is how advanced Universal is willing to go with this ride. They may just want to get a free spinning cart, which could be fun, but limits their opportunities. What I think could be much better is something along the lines of Cobra's Curse at Busch Gardens Tampa, which has an option to free spin, but can also lock itself either forwards or backwards. This could provide Universal a lot more options for what they'd want to do with this ride, and make it beyond just a standard family coaster. Regardless, I don't expect this one to be too high in anyone's rankings, but not a bad ride by any means. Next up is the Donkey Kong Minecart Coaster, which is one of my most anticipated attractions. This ride is actually going to Japan first, so we'll have a better idea of what this one will be like soon. But I'm not expecting anything huge. The main gimmick with this attraction is how it'll appear to be jumping over the track, just like in the games. While I think this will be fun to watch off-ride, I doubt it'll be anything too special on it. Maybe some potential for airtime, but as this will likely be a ride aimed towards families, I'm not really anticipating that. And that's the main thing to understand with this ride. It's aimed at families, which is perfectly fine. As much as I'd personally love it, a high-thrill roller coaster themed to Nintendo doesn't really make sense. Nintendo's main demographic is kids, even if there are plenty of adult fans out there. So, in the end, this should be a pretty low-thrill family attraction, especially with how weird that sideways track is. I doubt they could really do anything too intense with it, even if they wanted to. Like with the Monsters ride, this should be another fun family coaster, but definitely not elite. Let's move on to the island of Berk, where there's rumored to be an Intamin multi-launch coaster themed to How to Train Your Dragon. Intamin is actually the same company that created Jurassic World Velocicoaster, but I wouldn't expect this ride to be very similar. In fact, I think this will be much more similar to another Intamin creation for Universal, being Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Like with Hagrid's, I expect the Dragon's coaster to be pretty low to the ground, focusing more on speed than forces. It will also be aimed at families, but much more thrilling than either the Monsters or Donkey Kong roller coaster. Still, if this ride is similar to Hagrid's, I wouldn't expect it to be elite in terms of roller coasters. Hagrid's was ranked number 29 for me out of the 115 coasters I've ridden, which is not bad at all, but not quite Velocicoaster territory. And honestly, I don't expect this How to Train Your Dragon coaster to even be as good as Hagrid's is. It will probably have the same fantastic theming, hopefully with a dragon animatronic or two, but it doesn't seem like it'll have the same unique elements. Quick spoilers ahead for Hagrid's, but the backward section and drop track add so much to the ride for me, and while a more standard Intamin multi-launch will still be fun, it just won't be quite as magical. Again, this should still be a fantastic ride, but I don't see it cracking my top 30, and certainly not hitting the same level of Velocicoaster, which only leaves one coaster left. Luckily, this ride is the most likely to be the standout attraction in the park. Epic Universe will be getting a mock dueling launch coaster, located in the hub of the park and rumored to be themed to space. This will certainly be a high-thrill attraction, with a high-speed launch and plenty of inversions, but I do have my doubts. First, the launch itself. Roller coasters by Mock Rides are pretty notorious for having weak launches. I've been on Copperhead Strike at Carowinds a few times now, so I've experienced that gentle push firsthand. While it won't ruin the ride by any means, the launch is something that Velocicoaster excels at, which already puts it ahead of this dueling coaster. Speaking of that dueling aspect, my second concern is that it won't be dueling for long. Moments of interaction between the two trains are a huge reason to love dueling coasters. However, many of these rides, including Universal's own Dueling Dragons, eventually stopped dueling altogether. Dueling Dragons was mainly due to loose articles, which is an issue Universal has fixed with the use of metal detectors. But the other perk of running these tracks separately is for capacity. Waiting for not one but two trains to load before sending them out can waste a bunch of time, and with the crowds that Universal tends to get, it may not be worth waiting those extra seconds. Basically, I expect this ride to duel for the first 5 years or so at least, but I wouldn't be surprised if they ran the tracks separately soon after. Again, not a huge downside, but a small thing that might take away from the ride experience. Finally, let's talk about this ride's theming. The station, along with assumedly the queue, take place entirely indoors. I think it'll be like Incredible Hulk in that way, where the launch takes place indoors with some cool theming scattered around, but the rest of the ride takes place outside. However, I don't expect to find any rockwork like we see in Velocicoaster. In fact, I think it'll be most similar again to Hulk, where the theming outside is present but otherwise minimal. The focus will be on the thrill itself, which is perfectly fine, but yet another small downside where Velocicoaster excelled. In the end, the real deciding factor will be the layout. We barely have an idea of what this layout might look like, so I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but I will say that I don't expect this ride to top Velocicoaster for me. Could it be elite? It's entirely possible. But Velocicoaster just gets so much right that I wouldn't be surprised if Universal is never able to top it. Perfect layout, perfect theming, and entirely deserving of its top 5 placement for me. This dueling coaster will still be fantastic, but I can't see it topping Universal's best. Even so, I'm incredibly hyped for this park. Even if all the coasters end up to be disappointments, there are so many other rides I'm looking forward to that it doesn't even matter. The theming should be impeccable too, so just walking around the park should make the wait worth it. I know I was a bit harsh on some of these rides, but just know that in the end, I'm still incredibly excited to see what Universal is cooking up. And with that, the video's over. Thanks so much for watching, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.